But we start tonight with the frauds in the Republican Party. Yeah, I said frauds. Remember the rest of the media. The Republicans are not honest actors. Stop treating them like they are. They're a wholly owned subsidiary of the rich and the powerful. Case in point is Senator Tom Coburn of Oklahoma. He had the nerve to talk about shared pain, cutting our deficit after the Republicans just gave the rich hundreds of billions of dollars in tax cuts.
If we didn't take some pain now, we're going to experience apocalyptic pain, and it's going to be out of our control. And the idea should be that we control it.
Who is he kidding? After the giant, mammoth, enormous tax cuts for the rich, now it's time for shared pain? Which, of course, is code words for making you take your share of the pain. Look, I'm not a Monday morning quarterback on this. I told you from the get-go that they were going to cut the deficit off your back as soon as they pass the tax cuts for the rich. So later when we do austerity programs, you're going to demand that the pain is shared equally, right? So the rich will also have to pay and not just the middle class. Right. And they say, oh, yeah, of course. And true to form, that's exactly what they're going to get ready to do right now, which is not to share that pain. This was the GOP strategy all along. Look out for the wealthy first and then blame the economic problems on the middle class. You want to help balance the budget? Then go get the $400 billion in the tax cuts we just gave to the top 2% back for us. Period. End of discussion. Until they do that, we shouldn't cut a dime from the middle class. Coburn, who voted against the tax cut deal, not because it gave away too much to the rich, but because it did too much for the unemployed, then had the nerve to talk about sacrifice.
We could certainly cut $100 to $200 billion and help ourselves. There cannot be anything that's not put on the table. There will not be one American that will not be called to sacrifice. Those that are more well-to-do will be called to sacrifice to a greater extent.
I don't believe that for a second. They just gave him $400 billion. Are you kidding me? Also, this is the guy who just cut down the 9/11 first responders bill. Remember, that was to cover the health expenses for those workers that work down there. Now they only get coverage for 5 years instead of 10. And thanks to Senator Coburn, the responders lost $3.1 billion in health care coverage. It went from originally being a $7.4 billion bill in the House to ending up with $4.3 billion in the end. 70% of those guys have respiratory illness because they sacrificed for our country. There was no bigger sacrifice. But Coburn cut their legs out, and now he wants to talk about sacrifice? These are not honest actors. The entire Republican Party has one and only one mission: help the rich and the powerful, and everyone else be damned. At least one guy admitted it.
This is an impressive crowd, the haves and the have-mores. Some people call you the elite. I call you my base.
And when you look at the numbers, you realize that George Bush actually wasn't kidding. Since 1980, the share of the nation's income that goes to the top 1% has gone from 9% to 23.5%. It hasn't been that high since, well, right before the Great Depression. The income of that top bracket has also gone up 281% since that time. The rich have gotten much richer. That's the Reagan Revolution. Revolution for and on behalf of the rich. Now, Coburn has a nerve to talk about the destruction of the middle class.
I think you'll see a 15 to 18% unemployment rate. I think you'll see an 8 to 9% decline in GDP. I think you'll see the middle class just destroyed if we don't do this. And the people that it will harm the most will be the poorest of the poor.
That's a good one. So let me get this right. We're going to balance the budget off the back of the poor and the middle class and not the rich. But somehow, in Republican logic, that's supposed to help the poor. The reality is that you and your party, Senator Coburn, destroyed the middle class by giving tax breaks to the companies who outsource their jobs. And by the way, the Republican Party blocked a bill that would take away those subsidies earlier this year. You also made them disappear by giving every conceivable tax advantage to the rich, including dividend and capital gains taxes of only 15%. You made them disappear by crushing their unions and the ability to negotiate with multinational corporations that are making them work longer hours for less pay. And how about balancing the budget? When's the last time the Republican Party has done that in the last 30 years? Oh, right. Never. Reagan, giant, record-breaking deficits. George H.W. Bush, huge deficits. George W. Bush, even larger deficits than Reagan. The GOP never balances the budget. Never. Am I clear enough? Because they're too busy giving tax breaks to the top 1%. They view surpluses, like the one Democratic President Bill Clinton gave them, as a piggy bank for the rich. Here's how much credibility the GOP has on deficits. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Not one iota. No one should ever take them seriously on that topic. No, the Republican Party doesn't get to talk about the middle class or shared sacrifice or the deficit. They have never given a damn about any of those things. They're the ones that created the problems in the first place, and we'd have to be crazy to let them try to put all the pain on the middle class again. So, Dr. No, are we going to let you balance the budget off the back of the average American after you just helped to give your rich buddies another giant tax break? In language you can understand, Mr. Coburn, hell no, we're not.